Here I am, a family-friendly hotel looking for a week of fun for all ages. Must enjoy fabulous on-site water parks and personal space in the form of separate but adjoining rooms. Download the Hotels app to find me, your perfect somewhere.
This is the Dan Le Batard Show with the Stugotz podcast.
We are presented by DraftKings Sportsbook, an official sports betting partner of the NFL. Download the DraftKings Sportsbook app today and use code Dan for a special offer when you sign up. That's code Dan, only at DraftKings Sportsbook.
Jimmy, it makes me very happy to see your face. I know you get uncomfortable about this stuff. I'm just telling you that whenever I see your face, the first time I saw your face, I was afraid of it. I was walking around across that intramural field. You were wearing those too tight orange shorts, and I was too close to the field. I was just a freshman walking to my dorm, and you chased me off the field. And I've been afraid of you since, and everyone around here is
terrified, Jimmy.
Is afraid of you.
Yes.
Stugotz is afraid of you. He's a 50-year-old man, Jimmy. And I keep telling people that you're more different than you've ever been, that there's nothing there to fear anymore because you're more changed than any human being I've ever seen in sports, what you used to be and then what you chose to be. So I'm thrilled that we're having you on. And I have to admit on the front end, I've got a shame on behalf of both me and my producer that Chris Whittingham went to bed last night mortified because he made the same mistake I made, which is to make it seem as if Jimmy Johnson was going into the Hall of Fame this week.
That started 2 weeks ago with me when I told you we should get Jimmy on for the Hall of Fame.
Yes, and what happened was we tend to forget that we saw the speech, that Jimmy's already in the goddamn Hall of Fame. Yeah. And so Jimmy very politely by email did not correct me and did correct Whittingham with a, hey, kid, I was in the Hall of Fame since last year.
Fine.
I wondered what you were talking about when you said how busy it was going to be this week. I said, it's not going to be busy at all.
Jimmy, when you responded Thursday morning, you'll join us. I said, there's no way Jimmy's going to join us Thursday morning. He'll be too busy with Hall of Fame stuff.
Okay, so it's all right. So it's all of our faults. It starts with Stugotz and we didn't notice. So anyways, Jimmy, sorry about the fact that we didn't already know you were a goddamn Hall of Famer, even though we knew you're a goddamn Hall of Famer. Thank you for making time for us.
No problem.
You are. I've told people this before. I wanted to talk to you because I know you wrote Swagger with Dave Hyde and went to some deep emotional places that you don't normally go publicly. And so I wanted to talk to you about why you decided to do the book and where it is that Jimmy Johnson decided late in life after burying Wayne Huizenga, after talking to him about quality time left, why you decided to write a book about your life when you don't need any of this stuff anymore.
Well, actually, Nick Kristen, who's, along with Terry Bradshaw, one of my best friends, and he was my attorney, all the way back from my day one at the University of Miami. He talked to me about, hey, you need to write a book. You need to write a book. You need to make sure, the legacy is accurate. And then Dave Hyde came over, just for a regular interview, and he suggested the same thing. And I said, well, I'm reluctant to do it. But once I got into it with Dave and we started retelling stories and talking about University of Miami and talking about Dallas Cowboys and talking about the Hall of Fames and all that stuff, Survivor. I actually enjoyed doing it, and some of it was somewhat emotional, especially the family things. But I think it's going to be a great book. People are going to enjoy it.
You say reluctant to do it. Why?
Well, at this stage, why do I need to expose myself? Why do I need to talk about our struggles? Why do I have to open up some of the problems we had with my family? But I really visited with my family before I ever did it.
You say this, Jimmy, because yes, of course, you don't need people rummaging around in your personal life. You got out of the game good, right? Like why show anybody any more than I already have? I managed to escape the thicket and the beast. Why show people any of my pain? But I remember you being broken at the end of your Dolphin tenure, because when looking into your mother's coffin and seeing your sons at your side and telling them that you love them for the first time and sobbing in their arms, you're like, oh, wait a minute, I almost let my life get away. Like, football shouldn't matter like that.
Well, I think, Dan, because it's a success story. It's a success story for my son, Chad. Of course, people want to know about my relationship with Jerry Jones, and they want to know about my time on Survivor. They want to know about the Texas Hall of Fame, the Arkansas Hall of Fame, the University of Miami Hall of Fame, the Florida Hall of Fame, the College Football Hall of Fame, the Pro Football Hall of Fame, the Broadcasting Hall of Fame. But all of that stuff, that's a plus. But I think the most impactful part of the book is my relationship with Brent and Chad and Rhonda and them growing up. And then I think the other thing too, we have had so many, coaches, general managers, owners throughout professional football, college football, basketball, baseball. They've all come down to the Keys and say, hey, talk to me about evaluating talent. Talk to me about how you were successful, in those stressful times. And so, that's why, Nick Kristen said, hey, you need to write a book about all this stuff.
You can look back on it now, couldn't you, Jimmy, and say you had to choose between football and family. You had to leave football to really have family.
Danny, I think a lot of people are able to do it. They're able to have a life other than their job. I couldn't. Some of the most successful people I've ever been around, their entire life is with their job. I look at the successful people, look at Wayne Huizenga. I know, when Wayne and I talked about it there at the end, when I tried to retire a year before I actually retired, he said, Jimmy, I understand. And he said, a lot of times people will call me and play golf. Here the guy's a multi-billionaire. And he said, I don't play golf during the week. I got work to do. I've got to oversee some of these companies I have. And I'm thinking, geez, the guy's worth $4 or $5 billion. Why can't he take a day off to go play golf? But I think some of the most successful people I've been around, they work at it night and day. That's why they're successful. I couldn't go home at 5 o'clock and have dinner with my family. There was always something to do, and I had to oversee it.
Jimmy, is there anyone that comes down there just a little bit too much? Oh, this guy again?
Gene Hackman's been in the guest house. Who else has been into the guest house? And you're like, you know what? This is one visit too many. Mike Leach. Mike Leach?
No, I've got a good out on this one. If they're close friends like Belichick, I put him in the guest house. If I'm not real sure about him, I meet him at Jimmy Johnson's Big Chill for lunch.
Feel that a little bit.
It just depends on who they are.
All right, but you're telling us that there hasn't been somebody that's overstayed their welcome because of how wonderful that whole area is where you live, and you're on it's sunshine and water every day.
Well, R.C. Buford, the general manager of the San Antonio Spurs, he came down with his assistant general manager, and they stayed in the guest house. They stayed for a couple of days, and we went through the whole talent evaluation, the draft chart, et cetera, et cetera. With basketball only having 2 or 3 rounds, the draft chart wasn't going to work. But he wanted to evaluate talent, and then he came back a couple of years later. I said, geez, I've told him everything that I know. What can I tell him now?
Oh, so RC.
Wow. We got an answer.
But we did. Yes. Brought in a new assistant general manager because the other one went to Utah. And so I said, I'll meet you at the Big Chill. And so he came in, and he had one of those big easels, where you kind of have the paper and you turn it over and you turn it over and you turn. He had it all outlined, all the different subjects that he wanted to talk about. And I said, geez, RC, I said, you're worse than Belichick. I said, I ain't got this much time to go through all this.
Oh, that is so good. So Belichick is still doing it, though, Jimmy, where he'll come and sit at the knee and you guys will commiserate as peers, because he doesn't have a whole lot of peers, I wouldn't imagine.
Somebody asked Bill about it years ago. He said, why is it you always, go back with Jimmy? He said, well, first of all, I studied what he did in Dallas. He said, I studied what he did with the Dolphins. I studied what he did at University of Miami. And he said, how many people can I go to that are unbiased? They don't have a dog in the fight. And so they're going to be, really honest with me. That's won a couple of Super Bowls. That's had that kind of success in college. There's not that many people out there that I really trust that have been through what I've been through.
From your vantage point, what do you think happened at the end with Belichick and Brady?
Oh, I don't know that anything really happened. I think when you've had success like they've had for so long, there's other challenges out there, and I think there was another challenge out there for Tom Brady. And then toward the other thing is Tom Brady was getting toward the end of his career. I think it was just a
don't you say that, Jimmy.
Careful, Jimmy.
Don't you say that,
I care
Jimmy.
about you.
Don't you start saying Tom Brady's getting to the end of his career. You know nothing.
Dan said it 10 years ago. He put together another Hall of Fame career, Jimmy.
I've been wrong for 7 years.
Well, Bill Walsh said this, and of course, this is a hard one to gauge because Bill Walsh said, you want to get rid of your superstars a year before they've finished.
Right.
Yeah. Who can gauge whether or not they've got 1 year left, 2 years left, or 3 years left? But he said that many, many years ago when he was so successful with the 49ers.
I'd like to go through some football things here, and Amin, a former front office executive, wants to pick your brain like all these buzzards like Buford and everyone else who want a little more information from the master.
I just want to ask how Aikman looks so great with his shirt off, Jimmy. That's it, to be honest with you. Yeah.
I told Troy, he comes down every year. And, of course, we go out on the boat, and he wants to go to the sandbar. He's a single guy,
Right. Of course he does.
Geez, he takes that shirt off, and poor old Nick and I are standing there with our guts hanging out. And he's got his six-pack, but he works out like a madman. I said, Troy, you're working out more now than when you played. Michael Irvin's the same way. Michael's all bulked up. I said, all these guys, I said, please, it's great. Even Dan. I saw Marino at the Hall of Fame. And he said he had both knees replaced. I said, geez, I wish you'd have replaced those knees while you were still playing for me.
Thanks for clarifying. I thought you meant Le Batard.
Yeah, I thought he meant that too. I was going to be flattered. That
Did he get steroids, Coach? What do you think?
That he thought I had bulked up the way Irvin and Aikman have. The thing that I wanted to cover with you family-wise, Jimmy, because it seems to me that once you left football, and I'm doing this from the outside, but as I watched Terry Bradshaw decide to show everybody the innards of his life with performance in a documentary, touring the globe, talking about being depressed and being late in life and still being out there performing because he still needs it. Whatever it is that the champion entertainer when he was 20 needs it, still trying to fill a hole. It seems like he's your best friend. It seems like he's the family you chose from among these guys. It seems like Sundays are as close to football as you need to be because you get to spend the weekend with Terry.
Yeah, Terry and I, of course, we go way back. I watched him play when he was a senior in high school in Woodlawn High School. And, then, of course, we had a long period of time when he, was playing with the Steelers and I was coaching. And then once we started with Fox, and it's been like 28 years ago, Terry and I and Pat Summerall and John Madden, we were the first four that they hired there, David Hill and Ed Goring. Then we brought in Howie. It's been a long time, but Terry and I, we became close when we started watching college football every Saturday before we did the show on Sunday. And like I said, we've been doing it for about 28 years, other than the few years that I took off to go with the Dolphins. But he's just a great guy. He's generous. He's just really a good person. Now, once if it's just me and him, it's one kind of relationship. As soon as that third person comes aboard, then he's on entertainment time. He's going to entertain them.
Oh, you get a more honest version of Terry, right? Terry.
Oh yeah. I mean, Terry and I have some great conversations, and of course, along with Nick Kristen, they've been close friends for a long time.
As one of the originators, Jimmy, of Fox television money and seeing the explosion, I want your honest reaction when you heard Tom Brady was going to get $375 million to broadcast games.
Well, that did cause a stir, but I think that is a lot, not only for being a color analyst or whatever, but it's also for Fox Network total, and so there's other stuff involved. And again, I'm not privy to the contract or anything else, but I think it's more than just being part of the telecast.
But caused a stir. What does that mean? And I ask you as a guy who knows money, a guy who's not afraid to be honest, a guy who's not going to get in trouble with anybody. But you're literally the people who brought football to Fox. Like, you guys legitimized, and you've been doing it for a long time. And now this guy comes in and trumps everybody's salary. Even Jimmy, I know you made a lot of money, and I know that there's not much in the ego game that you need right now, but I also know people notice at a company when someone comes in at that salary level.
Well, here's what I said. In fact, that comment was made in our little group, and I said, guys, you got to look at this. First of all, are you happy with what you're making? If you're happy with what you're making, why should you worry about what somebody else makes? And we all are well taken care of. And we all are very happy with what we're doing. And so, why be jealous of someone else if they happen to, do more?
But Jimmy,
so it really wasn't.
Jimmy, there's real life wisdom in that, okay? But your locker rooms, you were always patrolling locker rooms that were filled with that. You had to manage that.
Yeah, and it's nice that you got the hammer at the top, and that way you could control it.
Jimmy, do you guys all have a group chat? Like you and Terry and Howie, you guys like all texting each other in a group? Yeah.
Oh, please. It wears me out because I like to go to bed early. And, I always have my phone, next to the bed, and I hear this bing, bing, bing all night long. I said, geez, would you guys quit that group texting?
I'd pay money to see it.
It wears me out. I have to take my phone and put it in another room. But we do that on a weekly basis about every subject in the world. And in fact, a few subjects that I hope they can't pull this stuff off my phone.
Oh, I want to see those, Jimmy.
Those are the secret tapes we want, Jimmy. That would be so good.
I'll meet you at the Big Chill, Jimmy. Show me all of them.
It wouldn't be a Gruden situation, but we'd get such good, honest stuff that those guys aren't usually saying on air.
Do you know how to put the phone on vibrate?
But we have a good time with it. Obviously, busting each other's chops, But we put the whole group on there, and then occasionally I tell them, I say, take me off of that particular group text. I'll talk to you guys later.
If you open
but that I think that's one great thing about Fox NFL Sunday. We all really do like each other. We spend time together. Terry comes here to the Keys. Kurt Menifee, he comes down. The whole group, we enjoy one another.
Except Riggle.
Well, Riggle was there for a while. I love Rob Riggle, but he does so many things. He got so many movies and all kinds.
He's not.
He's
welcome.
A big chill guy.
Jimmy, he's a big chill guy. Yeah. Tell us the truth, Jimmy. Is Riggle? You know what? Before the end of this segment, I want you guys to get me a list of names that we're going to throw in front of Jimmy, and we're going to ask him: is this a guest house or is this a big chill guy?
I love that idea.
We're going to play.
We'll start with Le Batard. Okay.
You guys are going to get me in trouble.
Yes, just a little bit, because I've got some questions that could get you in trouble, including one about Jerry Jones, but I know everyone's asking you about that stuff, and I'd prefer to talk to you about your life because it's an epic one. You're chronicling it now in a book. You're showing people more than you usually do, and I'm here to tell them, and I've told you this before, Jimmy, that the first 40 years of Jimmy Johnson are vastly, vastly different than the last 40 years of Jimmy Johnson. I don't intend to make you older than you are, Jimmy, but you figured out how to be a grown-up when, like, I don't have it wrong, right? Your mom died.
You're exactly right, and you're not the only one that says it, Dan. You know, Terry Bradshaw said it. You know, he said, I was a SOB back when I was coaching. Troy Aikman said, he said, Jimmy's a different guy now. He's actually likable. So yeah, I had a job to do. I had to, be the guy that's going to lead the group, and they came from all walks of life. Guys that came from the streets that didn't have any parenting. Didn't have any role models. Didn't have any structure in their life. I had to be the guy in charge of that. And, if you relax at all, a lot of them are going to fall off the rails. And so that's why I never could relax.
I want to ask you about some of the things happening in football now, your assessment of Tua and what the Dolphins are doing. What did you make of the Tyreek Hill trade?
Woo! He's an exciting player. I talked to Chris Greer just a few days ago, and I told him, I said, man, you brought in some talent, and it's going to be exciting. And, I think the good thing about, Tua, I mean, of course, with Waddle and, with the, Gesicki, and you look at Tyreek Hill, man, they've got some weapons there, and the running backs on top of it. I think Tua, he's got a good touch on the football. As long as they protect him, it's going to be exciting to see that bunch play.
You say as long as they protect him, Jimmy. You know football vastly, vastly more than I do. I can't make an assessment on Tua because when the advanced metrics say that that's the worst pass protection that they have ever seen by an offensive line unit since they started recording these things, that he had less pressure, or he had more pressure than any quarterback in the worst pass protection than any quarterback. Can you evaluate a quarterback that way?
Well, I think you have to put some of it on the quarterback and the scheme. The one thing McDaniels is going to do is bring in the running game, which will help that protection. I remember when I had Steve Walsh and Craig Erickson, and I even though Steve Walsh went undefeated and won a national championship for me, Craig was, looking so good in practice that I said, hey, I'm going to toss this thing up. I'm going to make it even and see the two of them out there in practice. And of course, Craig got a lot better, but in his early days, he was holding the ball too long. So a lot of it has to do with the quarterback as much as it does the offensive line and the scheme. And that's where I think McDaniel is going to help.
What is your assessment? You feel like you can make one? Can you tell me yes?
Yeah, I mean, from what I've seen, Tua's got talent. And you just got to make sure that you keep him in check and you have the right kind of scheme to keep him protected.
Last time you were on with us, you told the story. I asked you one that got away, or tell us a secret story, and you said you had a chance at Peyton Manning.
Yeah, but I think that they probably made that call to half a dozen teams in the league, and obviously there was, I was going to look at it as, a good young quarterback to develop, behind Dan Marino, and. But there's no way that we had enough firepower with draft picks to move up to get that pick.
So there are no details there that are missing. There are no it wasn't something that was close to happening for real.
No, it was never close to happening.
Is your greatest mistake in the draft passing on Randy Moss?
Oh, I never had an opportunity for Randy Moss. We actually had traded our picks the day before. And so we never came to that pick. Randy Moss was taken after our pick.
But you could have had Randy Moss in that draft, correct?
Well, we could have had Randy Moss had we not traded our picks the day before. So actually Randy Moss was picked before our pick came about. No, we never had the opportunity to take Randy Moss because of the trade we made.
What do you regard as the greatest personnel mistake you made? Like, do you look back on it that way, or do you just skip past it?
Dan, I must be different from you because I don't ever look at the mistakes. I don't know that I've ever made a mistake.
He looks at the rings, Dan. I mean,
Yeah, but
do you recall all the Hall of Fames that I'm in?
congratulations, by the way. Big weekend coming up. I mean,
oh, it's so good.
Stugotz here for my friends over at Simply Safe. Around here, we talk a lot about the importance of good defense on the field or court. But what about defending your own home turf? Pretty important, huh? We believe home should be the safest place on earth for every family, which is why I use and recommend Simply Safe Home Security. Simply Safe is advanced whole home security that puts you, your home, and your family's safety first. Here's why I love it. Easy to install. If I could do it, anyone could do it. And I love to be able to keep an eye on my driveway to see what packages are coming up, keep an eye, see when the kids get home, when I'm away. I love Simply Safe. It is amazing. Simply Safe offers comprehensive protection, not only against intruders and burglary, but against expensive home hazards from flooding to fires with 24/7 professional monitoring. Simply Safe's agents take action the moment a threat is detected. You can customize the perfect system for your home in just a few minutes at simplysafe.com/DLB. Go today and claim a free indoor security camera plus 20% off with interactive monitoring. Again, that's simplysafe.com/DLB.
Here I am, a family-friendly hotel looking for a week of fun for all ages. Must enjoy fabulous on-site water parks and personal space in the form of separate but adjoining rooms. I mean, where else can you find a one-of-a-kind personality with an enormous lobby aquarium and a concierge who can recite all the fish's names by heart?
Alan, Bertie, Coral, Squirt, Flip.
Download the Hotels app to find me, your perfect somewhere.
Dan Le Batard.
Listen, it could be Julius Randle's building. How about that?
The Mecca.
Or it's Julius, the Mecca.
Stugotz.
Steve Martin was a prop comic.
You said that?
I said it 2 seconds earlier than you.
This is the Dan Le Batard Show with the Stugotz.
People are asking about some of Jerry Jones's comments recently. I'm going to read them to the audience. It's not to incite you, but because I thought once upon a time that you guys would or could be friends like that, and that ego broke you apart, and that perhaps something there could have been lasted a lot longer than that and won even more than you guys did if you guys could just figure out how to get along. And it seems like he's harboring sort of a pettiness now. I don't think I have this wrong, but he's still in the game. He's fighting, and he's never been able to win as much as he won with Jimmy Johnson. And then, he was going to prove that he could win with anybody, and he did by getting a guy who was a clown in Barry Switzer. Loved Barry Switzer's personality, but for 1 year used up all of Jimmy's players and hasn't been back to relevant since. And this relationship goes back a long way. I side with Jimmy. I don't know what happened there. I do know that Jerry's still chasing something rather. And so he hasn't put him in the Ring of Honor yet, even though he says he's going to put him in the Ring of Honor. And the quotes are, it's BS for anybody to me making anything of that he's not in already. I've said I'm going to put him in. Now, when I put him in the circumstances and what I do with that, there's a lot more than Jimmy to think about here. And I've got a lot of other lives out here that have laid a lot on the line on that field that need to be in that Ring of Honor as well. And so how do I do that? Why, what I do with it, I get to make that decision. And it isn't at the end of the day all tailored around whether Jimmy is sniveling or not. It's
such a boss laugh.
I had to look that word up in the dictionary. I don't know that I've ever sniveled. Do you ever remember me sniveling?
Well, no, it is not a word I would ever associate with you. And also, you'd like to be in the Ring of Honor, but as I said, Jimmy kind of likes it in the Keys, so it'd be a pain in the ass to get on a plane and go there, but it would be emotional like the Hall of Fame was, because he doesn't actually need your accolades. But it does seem like he could put down the pettiness here and put your name in the Ring of Honor. Do you think he will do that before you've passed away?
Well, that's what I said on the show. He said he was going to do it because he told me half a dozen times he put me in. That's what I said while I'm alive. Never can tell. That's his decision.
But he doesn't want to give it to you at the end, Jimmy, is the thing. Of course, it's not that you care.
You worry about him passing away first,
it's
though.
Not
That,
I'm just saying.
you went there.
No,
right?
Jimmy,
the only thing is, if he does it,
it's going to be Stephen Jones.
Talking about it.
Jimmy, the last time he was on with us, mentioned, is he going to put me in? But like he was joking, but he wasn't, because Jimmy's moved past this. I don't think I'm speaking for you here, Jimmy, right? You're more bemused by it than anything.
Oh, let's see. I think I'm in the Pro Football Hall of Fame. Is that the ultimate?
Yeah.
So
Yep.
I'm happy where I am. I don't have any deep feelings like, oh, I got to do this, I got to do that.
What regrets do you have from how all of that ended? Because it was possible, Jimmy, for you to never end up back with the Miami Dolphins, to ride that out. What would have happened if you had stayed in the relationship?
Yeah, Dan, and I think this is the good part about the book Swagger. I'm in the best relationship that I've ever had with my family right now. My sons are super successful, super happy. I've got a great marriage now. Yeah, I used to say, the most fun time I ever had in my life was the 5 years, at least the last 4 years at University of Miami. It was a great time. Of course, we were independent. We had a schedule such that we were playing the top teams in the country every other week, and we were kicking their rear end. It was a ball. But I've changed it. The most fun time in my life wasn't those years at University of Miami. The most fun time in my life is right now.
There's real learning in that. Like, Jimmy, you've done profound life-living wisdom stuff there, because you found your way to happy, even if, like I've seen you make a throw-up sound when you think of the man you were or had to be, the asshole you had to be to run.
Well, Bill Belichick, in one of the years he came down after his first Super Bowl, and he said, Jimmy, what's the biggest thing, that I've got to overcome after this first one? And I said, well, obviously complacency. Everybody, they're not going to work as hard. And I said, you're the only guy that's got a hammer. I said, I give you a perfect example. Joe Brodsky, who I love to death, he was my running back coach, and is no longer with us. But he did a great job with those running backs. Well, after our first Super Bowl, Emmitt Smith held out the first couple of weeks, because that's what happens. Everybody in the organization, the secretary wants a raise, the video guy wants a raise, all the players want new contracts, all the coaches want to do this, people were writing books, TV shows, on and on. Anyway, but Emmitt held out for a couple of weeks. Well, Emmitt comes back in, and then Joe, he was just wearing the rookie Derek Lassick out, the other running back. But Emmitt was standing over to the side, not getting any work. And I said, Joe, hey, Lassick's fine. I said, but get Emmitt in there, get him ready to play. And Joe looked over and said, oh, Coach, he's a veteran. He'll be fine on Sunday. And I said, fine on Sunday, my rear end, I said, get him in there, get him ready to play. And that's what happens. Even the assistant coaches get soft on those players. They become friends. That they don't drive them as hard. And I told Bill, I said, you're the only guy that's got the hammer. The hammer on the players, the hammer on the coaches. You've got to demand that they get better, because everybody's going to have a target on your back. Everybody's going to be after you. They're going to be better prepared for you this year than they were last year. And so you've got to be better than what you were a year ago if you're going to win it again.
Coach, you mentioned how many people come out to the Keys to seek your guidance and talk about the talent evaluation process. How much has it changed since when you were in the NFL and in college?
How much of a what?
How much has the talent evaluation process changed, with all this extra information people have?
I don't think the talent evaluation changes at all. You look at it, just like Buford, RC says, well, I understand the talent on players. What about the talent as a coach? He said, Pop's going to retire one of these days. And he said, will you be concerned about a college coach, et cetera, et cetera. I said, listen, give me somebody that's really smart and intelligent, somebody that's very passionate about what they do, and they're willing to work night and day to get the job done. I don't care how much they know. Give me those three things and you'll be fine. But the talent evaluation for players, hey, give me, intelligence, because I always wanted smart players. The smart players get better, and they don't give you the trouble off the field, et cetera, et cetera. I want a gym rat. I want a guy that's going to work night and day. He's going to be part of it. I want somebody that's a playmaker. He makes plays, not just touching the ball, but he makes key plays. I want somebody with character. And then the other thing, I wanted somebody with some speed and quickness. The talent evaluation is always the same.
First one in, last one out, that type thing.
That's the gym rat.
Yeah. Nose to the grindstone.
If he's late to work and he leaves early, I don't want him.
Jimmy, what do you say to a Dolphins fan that is okay with Stephen Ross going after Tom Brady? Even and this is around the league. There's a lot of little conversations happening, tampering here and there. I'm a Dolphins fan, and I was like, hey, Stephen Ross is going for it. I wasn't that angry with him.
Well, there's one thing to be passionate and want to get better, but you also have rules. And so, I made the mistake. My very first job when I went to the Dallas Cowboys, I didn't know anything about tampering. I called Dom Capers, who I knew, and talked to him about being on my defensive staff. Well, he was under contract with the New Orleans Saints.
Worked out.
And so I got turned into the league for tampering. I didn't know the rules. You can be passionate and you work hard and try to improve, but you got to follow the rules.
But if you're not cheating, you're not trying, right, Coach?
I don't believe in cheating.
I do.
No.
All right.
Tell me the rules. I'll abide by the rules.
What about bending a rule?
Let's do it the right way. Back in the days of buying players and crap like that, I don't believe in that. But that happened. So anyway, no.
What happened? Hold on. What happened? Somebody else was buying players? What happened?
Well, let's just say I've taken over some programs where they bought players.
All
right. Chris, you wanted to get in here? Billy, you wanted
hit my knee again.
Okay, so it's not because you wanted to get in here. It's just that your face is red.
Coach, I'm wondering how many minutes after we're done,
God.
What happened there? Coach, how many minutes after we're done will you be shirtless on a boat? How many minutes?
Well, you never can tell.
Oh, Jimmy!
He's getting. Are we keeping it from the boat? We're gonna keep it from the
great
boat.
toe.
No, so he's gonna.
I'll take this nice shirt off here in a few minutes.
Let's go.
Do it now. Do it now,
Jimmy.
Jimmy,
we got a great game coming up.
We're gonna let you go on this note, but I'd like the punctuation as an entertainer for 3 decades who got Tom Brady that contract because you've got now the right relationship with football. You made a ton of money. You found family inside of football. Aikman's at your house. We're now going to go through the list of people in your world. Do they get the guest house or do they get a nice lunch?
I'm not going to play this game.
Jimmy, come on.
Jimmy, it's going to be
we won't get you in trouble.
Because Dave Hyde put it in an article one time that Mike Tenenbaum, he went to the Big Chill, and he didn't get the guest house. And
he shouldn't get
good call.
No, listen, he's a former realtor. He messed up the Dolphins. He's got to get the Big Chill. I'll fill in the blanks. We're just going to make you a little uncomfortable here. So this is the game we're playing.
No,
the longs,
I don't play that game.
The longs, all of the longs. You can't just take Howie because I know Howie's getting the guest house.
The whole family.
The whole family. All of the longs. Or do the kids have to go out to the Big Chill?
No. Actually, Chris and Kyle, please, they grew up with me. They were little kids when I started with Fox. In fact, I visited with Chris many a time. When he was thinking about going, not playing his senior year, going in the draft, et cetera, et cetera. Same thing about Kyle. So they're almost like family to me.
Okay, so they get the guest house.
Yeah.
Straight hand.
I could cop out and just say everybody.
No, but you're not going to do
won't,
that.
Jimmy.
You're honest.
You won't do
You don't
it.
like cheating, and that would be cheating
you don't
at this
like
game,
cheating.
Coach.
You're honorable. So Michael Strahan.
Strahan. Let me tell you what. Michael Strahan, and I didn't know him that well. I should have drafted him. I was going to draft him. I had him as one of my 20 visits. I brought him up right before the draft, and I had a scout in his home because I was going to take him in the 3rd round. He is one of the nicest individuals you ever want to meet. I mean, he is so nice and such a good person. I was in his home for Thanksgiving with his family. I mean, he's a good guy.
So he gets into the guest house.
Oh, without question.
See, this is easy. You were afraid of this game. You're not afraid of anything.
You're going to throw me a ringer here.
Okay. No, well, you don't know that. You don't know what I'm going to throw you. But
I know you, Dan.
I've been trying to trap you for 30 years, Jimmy. 40 years. You've always been outside my grip. This is the time I'm going to get you.
As soon as you say a tough one, I'm going to press the button.
No. As soon as I say a tough one, here's the deal, Jimmy, okay? This is the deal I want to make with you because I know you want to get out to the boat, and I very much am appreciative of your time. And over the years, I'm hugely appreciative of the man you've grown into and how much of your life you shared with me as a dumbass reporter in this market who was real interested in following you around. And you taught me a great many things. So the end of this...
Well, if I taught you a few things, you better get the book Swagger because you'll learn a lot more.
There you go.
Yes, so I wanted to publicize the book for you, and if I say an uncomfortable one, I would like you to just take your shirt off and walk out of the room, and you don't have to turn the Zoom off because I know you're going to the boat as soon as we're done here. But you might get a couple of more softballs for you before I ask a difficult one. Kirk Menefee.
Ooh.
Kurt's been in my guest house. Him and his wife Violet.
Excellent.
See, so easy, the one that I asked you. Yep. Joe Buck wants to come down.
Joe Buck's been in my guest house.
See, all right. See, easy ones, no problem.
You can buy your house now, Jimmy. Yeah, 2 of them.
You're noticing these contracts, Jimmy. These are big. Aikman just got a lot of money.
What do we got?
Next one, Dan.
Pregnant pause there.
Yeah.
Jimmy Kimmel.
You know, I did a commercial with Jimmy Kimmel, and he used to be our comedian on the show, and Howie threatened to whip him one day. Yeah, he'd get the guest house. Good guy.
Yeah.
Oh, okay. That was on the line there. But wait, Howie...
Star power, Dan. Star power.
Well, I said he threatened to whip him one morning in the production meeting because I guess one of his little skits made fun of Howie.
Oh, my God. He would have destroyed. He would have dragged.
It would have been ugly. It would have been really ugly.
He would have dragged. How about let's go through all the comedians. Frank Caliendo.
Oh, yeah. Yep, Frank's a good guy. I like him.
Riggle?
Yeah, Riggle's a good guy.
Okay, all the comedians are welcome.
Big Chill.
No, not Big Chill.
It sounds like Caliendo was a Big Chill guy.
No, they're all guest house material.
Okay. Right.
See, what you're doing is people that I know that are friends. That's easy. But if they're a stranger and I don't know them, then you're talking about a possible Big Chill guy.
Right.
Jerry Jones would like to use the guest house.
Please, he can buy the guest house.
Yep. But he wants to use it.
He wants to use it.
He'll put his 250-foot yacht right out in front of the house.
That sounds like a Big Chill guy. Not even. You wouldn't even go to the Big Chill with Jerry right now.
Yard house.
Oh, no, Jerry. When Jerry and I together, hey, we're the best of friends. But it was kind of like the chapter on Jerry. It says, when he'd tell me how much he appreciated what I did at, with Dallas. He said, I know how you. He said, I love you. I said, yeah, I love you too. I said, sometimes I hate you. He said, sometimes I hate you too. And so we got a great relationship. I just don't understand it.
That's a great man. I mean,
see you later.
Wait, no, there's one more you have to ask.
Okay.
Joe Zagacki.
What? That's the one I had to ask?
That's the one we're all dying to know.
Oh,
yeah, Joe Z. Yeah.
For sure he'd be guest.
Why, thank you.
Yeah, really?
Yeah, Khaki, man. I remember I called him one night with Khaki and Sonny Hurst back.
I'm honored.
35 years ago or something. Yeah.
Good catching up with you, Jimmy. Always good seeing your face. And as I tell you every time, it's really nice to see you so happy.
Okay. I enjoyed it, guys.
All right. Congrats on the Hall of Fame. Yep.
Good to see your foot, too.